Hey, Education for Love and Wisdom podcast community. We are really excited to introduce this episode featuring Dr. Stefan Bean, Orange County Superintendent of Schools. Nathan, this, as you'll recall, was Dr. Bean's greeting to the entire Disability Symposium last year. And we got to hear him tell some of his story. And that's what our listeners are going to have a chance to hear on this episode.
Such a powerful, impactful story. Almost unbelievable to hear the things he's overcome in his life. So I agree, Jeff. This is going to be a great one.
Enjoy. I am delighted to be at the Orange County Department of Education with Dr. Stefan Bean, our Orange County Superintendent of Schools. And Dr. Bean, welcome to the Making Inclusion Work Symposium. We have representatives of schools and representatives of faith communities, all really asking the same question, and that is, how can we make inclusion work for the children that we serve?
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for your story. You embody so much of what we're talking about at this symposium. And I'd love it if you would just start by sharing a bit about your journey and how your family and your teachers helped you to come to be the flourishing leader that you are today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I always am honored and humbled when I get the opportunity to just share how teachers and educators have made a difference in my life. I came over from Vietnam in 1975 as an orphan, as a byproduct of the war. Came over to a foster family first. Had polio actually when I was 2, so left me paralyzed from the waist down. Foster parents, Greg and Judy Bean in San Diego, later adopted me and actually adopted 10 of us. They had over 150 foster children come and go in their house. They adopted 10 of us, many of us had disabilities. So this whole topic around inclusion resonates with me personally. So part of that journey as being a child with a disability was educators trying to figure out how to educate students with disabilities. Because in the 70s, IDEA just came out. Yeah. And so they're just trying to still figure out how do we educate students with disabilities. I remember quite often being pulled out of the classroom quite a bit, working one-on-one with teachers, either on my English, because I was learning English, or just because they thought that that's what they needed to do with the child with a disability. But it wasn't until 6th grade when I met Donald Geisinger, my 6th grade teacher. Amazing, amazing teacher. He said to me, Stefan, just forget the fact that you're in a wheelchair. You're learning English. We know that that's difficult. And you have challenges in behavior and all that. But I want you to know this, is that you do have a gift. And I've noticed that you have a gift of gab. He said, meaning I like to talk a lot. And he said that I had this gift of communication. So what he saw was a strength in me to then say, you know what, I only want you, Stefan, to give oral presentations this whole year. So make sure you don't have to write, you don't have to take any tests, just listen to what you're hearing and go give oral presentation. And so that was an example of how a teacher saw the strength within this child, even with a disability, to use that in a way that would actually build who I am and build my confidence.
It's a beautiful story, and really thinking about both your family and this teacher, the sense of seeing you, seeing your value, seeing your gifts, having a strengths-based approach to your learning is the realization of what we're talking about when we talk about inclusion, isn't it?
That's exactly right. Every child, no matter their ability level, their ethnicity, their background, they come to school in that classroom with gifts and talents and strengths to offer that community, that classroom community. And so oftentimes when a child with a disability comes into a community, As educators, we sometimes make the mistake of looking at that child through a deficit perspective. Oh, this child can't hear, this child can't see, this child can't walk, so therefore we have to do these things. But rather, I would challenge educators to look at a student who comes into the classroom through an asset perspective. Okay, as Stefan, you really know how to talk a lot, so we're going to use that as a gift, as a strength, as a part of this community.
Yeah. How did that continue to unfold then in the years that followed that experience with the teacher who really saw you and opened up that strengths-based approach to education for you?
Jeff, that's a really good statement you just made, which he saw me, right? And so that's what, as educators, we need to see all of our students and make them know that they belong in this community. And so when he did that, and he built this confidence within me in terms of, look, you give oral presentations this whole year. Well, what do you think was the byproduct of that? It built my communication skills. And so I was much more confident in myself, but I didn't realize how confident I was until I was invited to Washington, D.C. to speak in front of 15,000 people. And at the age of 14, by the way. Mm-hmm. And so at 14, there was in front of the Lincoln Memorial, overlooking the lawn, overlooking the Washington Monument, giving a speech in front of 15,000 people. And at the end, all of the, just a standing ovation and cheers. And then me coming down and then rolling through the sea of people, and people just giving me kudos and pats on the back. And that just boosted my confidence. Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful sequence of being seen, being received, being loved, being empowered, and having the opportunity then to express those gifts resulted in a growing confidence over time, to the point that even at 14 years old, you're able to speak to thousands of people. Mm. And the foundations are being laid for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Really at that point.
Yeah.
As an educational leader throughout your career, you have been in a position to support teachers, mm-hmm. of course, being a teacher yourself and being a school site leader, then a district leader, mm-hmm. now at the county office. What is your vision for supporting and empowering educators as we expand our embrace of students in the classroom and move toward a more inclusive kind of education? How do we provide support to make this vision a reality?
The vision that I have seen us as a organization really care for is an understanding that at the Orange County Department of Education, we serve the most vulnerable in our community.
Yes.
And the most vulnerable being foster youth, homeless youth, incarcerated youth, probation youth, students with disabilities. And so we felt as a team that we really needed to shift our initiatives and focus around making sure that all students are included in all programs. And that's what inclusion is, right? So inclusion is about including our students with disabilities into those types and give them access into those types of programs that other students have. Also, as the county superintendent, I'm constantly engaged in conversations with community agencies, especially agencies that develop workforce, right? Mm-hmm. And the workforce. And so I've challenged CEOs, executive directors, let's look through the lens of inclusivity when you hire. Yes. Look at your practices, hiring practices. Yeah. Look at your accommodations, because research actually shows that when you have an inclusive environment and you hire people with disabilities, that actually culture and climate increases significantly in your organization. And as a byproduct, so does productivity. So that's just one simple way, is through CTE in our county.
I love that vision of bringing education and community together.
Yes.
With a common commitment.
Yes.
That everything we do in terms of initiatives, we think, how is this going to also serve students with disabilities?
Yes.
And you mentioned business. We're talking in this symposium about faith communities.
Yes.
Every aspect of community can be partners in creating the kind of society in which everyone is welcome to share their gifts and be part of a thriving community.
That's right. And I appreciate you using that word gift, because in the faith-based community, which I'm a part of, we understand that we are given gifts, right? No matter our background or our situation, in my faith journey, I started off pretty rough. God put me in a very, difficult situation, coming from as an orphan, abandoned on the streets of Saigon, not getting that polio vaccination, to the day of coming to the United States. I was supposed to be on the first flight out, but it was so chaotic that day that I was placed on a second flight out. That first flight took off and it crashed, right? And I survived. And that is, to me, what really, as I reflect back, grounded me in this whole idea of that God protected me and for a purpose. And that purpose was to go through these difficulties and trials in my life to then be able to actually build empathy for those that go through it, and those are students. And so I think that's, God has certainly put me in the right place, the right time, to be able to use that empathetic spirit to support our students across Orange County.
It's such a powerful story. And that sense of purpose, I think, is what's necessary to really make inclusion work.
Yes.
Because it's hard. And the reason it hasn't happened historically, because it is hard.
Yeah.
But if you have that sense of purpose and understand that every life is of infinite value and every child has gifts to share, and we're better communities when everyone is embraced. With that sense of purpose, we can face the challenges and meet them.
Exactly.
So that this outcome is possible. Well, we're so grateful to have you share your love and wisdom. It's the language that we like to use at Vanguard with our symposium participants today. Dr. Bean, any final words that you would have for teachers, administrators, families, faith community members who are participating in the symposium?
Yeah, you know what? Just love and wisdom, for me, articulates itself in how we lead at the Orange County Department of Education. So I've been saying quite often, we lead from the heart, right? And that we, as a county office, we serve districts that actually serve students. So we must do a good job of serving the people that serve our students. And so the how or the what we do, you can do a lot of different whats we do. But I think what's more important is the why and the how we do it. So ground the why in that all students have gifts and strengths, and look at our students through that perspective and not the challenges that they may face. And the how is we do it from the heart, through love and wisdom, through leading from the heart. And then the what comes easy based on those two things. So I just leave it with that. And I think that's how I tend to operate and what I've seen around me. And I'm pretty, very, very happy to be where I am. And thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Dr. Stefan.
All right. All right, my friend. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Education for Love and Wisdom podcast. You can follow us online by visiting our website, www.vanguard.edu/love and wisdom. We'd also love to hear from you. If you have any thoughts, comments, or questions, you can email us at loveandwisdom@vanguard.edu. Thank you to all who have contributed to the podcast. And thank you, our listeners and our viewers, for joining this episode. We'll talk soon.